Hello there everyone, this is Mark 3 and welcome back to a bit more Everspace 2, forever in space, forever with grace, forever in the service of the one true beautiful being that is, forever and always, Horatio. Yes, all hail Horatio. We shall all be united in his graceless form, his boundless intelligence, his endless wit and humour, and anything and everything that can be described as positive and or perfect. Please insert appropriate descriptor here. Yes, Horatio is all-inclusive. But yes, welcome back. And the last time, I kind of mucked up my empire development slightly, if you recall, by choosing, well, basically the wrong resources, all told. I chose to develop my cities to tier 3 with a lack of common sense on my part, checking where stuff was. In particular, I'm after the, I think it was these ones, Eden Incense, yes, and Blue Cap Mold, which is up this way. So, I've got 2 ships running over this way to try and secure some Eden Incense. But I don't actually have a ship heading this way to try and deal with the Blue Cap Mold situation. But it looks like the problem is we've got the Empire over here, and he can basically colonize everything by yelling really loudly at the people to do it, because that is the human Imperium. His voice motivates all. So one of his unique faction things is he can actually, you know how most empires get the option to rush projects and things with dust, like this game's version of cash. He can do that by spending influence. His voice motivates the people and they get that job done. So, you know, it's an industrial and influential empire, really. I think I'll rush out a beautifier over here though to get one going in the right direction at the very least next turn, which will be bound towards, I think I might be in time to get Vyzak, or not Vyzak, Vyrak is potentially one, but every other system I can see with Blue Cap up that way is already claimed. So I have to see how we do on that one. We've actually got okay chances of pushing straight through Volta territory here. Let's go ahead and end our turn though, because we do actually have some comments to get to last time. It seems I inspired a little bit of fact sharing in the comments when I mentioned the Fermi Paradox, which obviously I'm kind of glad to see, because it's more positive than the outlook I had previously, so there was some stuff I didn't quite know about. I think we got you doing general stuff. We will continue to develop you in your ship-focused ways. So there we go. Get your shields better. Very good. End the turn. So, I think there is a second part. Happy Afer had a split comment. I think I'll get to the second half of it, which actually deals with the game itself, and then I'll go back to the other 2 bits, one from Happy Afer and one from Space Bear Engineer. Hello, welcome to the channel. I don't think I've seen many comments from you before, if any, who also wish to speak on the matter, but we'll get to that in a second. My outpost on Dursey has converted into a full-blown colony. Okay. Just go away, please, thank you. Dursey, we've got, yep, here, Kiros, we've got ourselves one of those uniques. Very, very nice to see. We're going to get that kicking up on... well, the main problem is this is a unique, yes, so it doesn't actually have much by way of production. So I've only got default production going on here. So getting some initial things kicking in that regard is probably going to be a really good idea. Looking for something with a cold bonus. Nothing especially. I think colonize and then Xeno industry will do good things. And then this one is going to be helpful with sustainability and also cerebral reality for a bit of general stuff. And also you are going to be spin project specialized. And keep going. So, I was talking about the blue cap and the spin spice. Spin spice? Eden incense. Wow, I got that wrong. Because Happy Aper did comment on that one. So your systems are stagnating because you can't easily get enough of those limited resources? That sucks. It does. Stagnating is not what I would say. I was talking about Kai's stagnating, but that's because it's like a very small single world in a system, which means that most of the development options for it don't actually make any sense to do. Like +1 population for 16 dust upkeep. In return, this world will only give me like 5 base dust outputs, plus a bit more from other things. But like a lot of stuff is just too expensive to make sense to go into a single small world system. So it's just like there's not much point doing that. Kais by itself is just sitting there taking up basically a spot in my empire's tolerance for how many colonies I get. Because if you go above a certain size, your people start to get a bit uppity about it. So, you know, that's why Kais is, maybe I'll abandon that further down the line when it's no longer useful. It was taken as a trophy anyway for subjugating 5. I didn't actually choose to colonize that off my own bat. I was forced to invade it by my faction quest. Well, forced. I could have ignored 5, but then I would have got to share the quest line with you guys. So, you know, no real choice there. But there's nothing saying I have to keep it. Yes. Moving on then. Is there a massive replicator tech or something you can unlock to create those resources manually? Having to pay lots with no possible alternatives besides having to acquire the production system would be bad game design. Actually, you have hit a very good point there, which is why I was looking around at what is where in general. So, what I actually mentioned last time is the 2 more straightforward ways to get access to it, like have a colony produce it passively over time. That's one way. Buy them straight from the market in return for cash. That's another. But I do have other options to try and get them. Sadly, I do not believe the Behemoth offers one of those. Let's double check on my anomaly scanning. I think this is just like the main FIDSI. That's science techs. That's strategic resources. Terraforming. Yeah, that doesn't. Though actually mentioning behemoths, if I go somewhere else, there is Behemoth mining probe technology, which these can be used to launch on an unclaimed planet, and these can temporarily tap into a resource node to harvest resources for it. Exploits all resource deposits for which we have the technology to access. And the behemoth can then wander off and we'll get a few turns of resource production from where the behemoth has just been. So that's something the behemoths can do for us in that regard. It's basically their version of a probe launcher we've got on the scout ships, but it's sort of like a massive drill instead. Though that said, there are some better versions in the higher tech tier, including a special one, which is a core miner, digs down into the core to exploit resource deposits, but it does a lot of production, but it also partially depletes the planet, which is, you know, taking it down towards the planet being resource depleted and so having a massive penalty on all of its resource output. Doesn't matter for most things, but it's mostly related to the carvers, that one. But that is an option there to try and get some there. I think it works for luxury deposits as well, because it does say all deposits. And it does say drill, but it might work. It might work. Slightly less aliens coming around to scoop up the forest and the water and stuff like that. Slightly less that is we can actually go to the local factions as well.
Let us see if we can trust your words.
And here I can spend influence to try and negotiate deals with them. Like I want from you guys. They have some blue cap molds available. But they should also have, because it's a local thing, they should have some of the spice. Actually, yeah, they were 101 spice. I also know for a fact these guys actually are the ones that put the 2 higher-end strategic resources on the market, because if we scroll down, we have the option to buy some from them. So that means they've got some in stock, and so they probably why that happened. The bloomin' Volters, always. Now, of course, I could try to offer a trade deal, but the thing is, by doing this, I also have to spend influence to try and sort it out as we go. So, let's actually try and do that. Let's get some 100 incense, and what can I offer in return for that? They don't have much Hyperium. I've got a fair bit of Hyperium. They do not appreciate that. What if I offer a 1-to-1? What does that make? No, they are very unhappy with that. I suppose I'll spend 70. The thing is, every time I send this offer, I pay X influence just because of the number of terms in it. If I add more terms, then that. If I make a lasting agreement, then that sort of thing. If we were on a more peaceful setting, I could actually do a trade agreement, which would actually encourage a bit of natural flow of resources to and fro anyway, and also that my trade companies come in.
I see.
Well, I was offering 100 Hyperium for only 20 of those. And they were very unhappy with that. They just don't want the Hyperium, even though they've not got any. Weird. Is there an option to say, what do you want for this? It doesn't seem like it. So if I did this, I'd just be demanding Eden incense off them. Let's offer 20 Dark Glitter. Offer.
We do not enter a mine with someone we do not trust.
I do not feel this proposal does sufficient honour to my kin. I cannot accept it. Yeah, I offered a straight trade and they were just very unhappy about it. So you have to try and figure out what they want and probably try to bribe them that way as well. As I said, I also spent like influence just making that offer flat out, so it's not the best way. Another way I mentioned is trading companies, which is, if we go up here, we have got Deep Space Holdings founded. We don't have any subsidiaries for it, but subsidiaries can be in other empires if we have like trade agreements and stuff like that, or to existing colonies or areas for you, and they produce a trickle of resources in general just by operating, and that should include trickles of the required blue cap mold and incense, but I'm not totally sure about that one, so I have to try and figure that one out as we go. Also, I asked a question last time about should we go to war with the red guys who are being very uppity and demanding money from us. Nobody actually said anything about that. So we'll have to watch these guys and see if they keep trying to poke us, which they probably will do, honestly. Let's get this beautifier out of here, because I do want to get you, at the very least, in motion towards Virak. Though, honestly, that's going to cause some border friction with the Empire up here. Quite honestly. Right. Let's get on with my turn processing. We've got Dursay, which we've already seen. Next one was Solar Quest. Your bag, please. System Coast has been selected as host for a major diplomatic summit. In the coming months, all eyes will be on you. Watchdog groups across the galaxy will be monitoring Coast's infrastructure, stability, and security in preparations for the summit. Make sure it goes off without a hitch, and you may find surprising new opportunities open for your empire. For 10 turns, keep the Kernos system free of enemies. There's no enemies even wandering that way, so I think that's fairly safe on that. New event. Call a spaceman a spaceman. On some of your systems, an antiquated classification scheme used to categorize minor civilizations systems has the religious community up in arms. Classification system is mostly meaningless at this point, but to officially accede to the protest's demands would be a small bureaucratic nightmare. So I'd ignore the demands. Ruling requires a firm hand. In times like these, people need to realize there are greater threats to the Empire than linguistics. Increased scientist ideology, but -10 to happiness. Or sometimes words have to change with the times too. It'll be a logistical nightmare, but the switch should be welcomed by all. Minus 15 production, especially on the new colony in Dursay, that's going to be a problem. And increased religious ideology, which isn't strong for us anyway. I'm a very happy Empire. I'll take the 10 hit to happiness there. Go away, thank you. And then food fight competitive quest. Surprise, I am set to win that. Gee, I didn't see that one coming. It's not like I'm an Empire that makes massive amounts of food or anything like that. Well, actually, I am. We knew that one was in the bag the moment it pops up, to be honest. Anyway, sorry. Get back to the comments, though. Because Happy Acres' comment does continue. As I mentioned, there are other ways to get the resources. I'm not completely hamstrung by it. It doesn't lock my development. It does mean I can't hit stage 3, which is the thing, which is my faction quest now. Get 3 systems level 3. That's what's been held up. Also, the fact I can't get easy bonuses on some of my systems before I get supplies sorted out, but that's neither here nor there. I can roll with that. My systems are continuing to get stronger anyway. Everyone can move. Ooh, we found planet Raya, home of Vladimir. And that is up over that way. Very nice. Though also, kind of shows there's not that much left of this constellation to find in terms of free real estate, where I can get some freely produced blue cat molds. So it's kind of why I decided to get out of colony ship to get up there. See, even this little off-node one has already been taken over. Though that one is right by the capital, so that's a pretty good excuse to do it. Now, just gently probe the system for resource. What have we got? We found some blue cap molds. Congratulations. Also, we've got some free population, which hopefully they'll make it past any blockades in the way, but if there is a blockade, they're not going to get anywhere, to be honest with you. Check over there, and move on. You are the Lost Horatio. You are waiting for... Why are you just waiting for, honestly, landing space? So another turn, you'll be sorted out. Cool. You are just scouting around behind enemy lines, or future enemy lines. This is a... There are some anomalies here. But this is very production-heavy place, this. I'll calculate shrapnel. Crew killed per hit on the flotilla plus 100%. Ah, of course, a mark of true technology. Find a sufficiently sharp or cutting material and make shrapnel bombs out of it. Sure, that's what we do. And some random influence. I'll take it. I'll take it. Just continue my scouting to the north. Because we're getting to another territory. I'm kind of suspicious... Oh, we also got some adamantium as well. I'm kind of suspicious about the fact that we're alone in our constellation. And the fact that we've got some Umbral Choir people around the place, and some of our systems say they've been hacked, makes me think that we might have an Umbral Choir. I mentioned this last time. But unless I can get my stealth detection up, or they really botch something as far as hacking goes, I won't know for sure either way. You are happy. Found a neutral star, very good. Who's next? Let's see. You are the invasion fleet. You are currently sitting pretty. There is the Lost Horatio, which is also there as well. I thought that was a scout ship going for an upgrade for a moment there, but that was actually several episodes ago. And then this scout ship over here. Let's launch a probe barrage over this way to see what's nearby in terms of availability, and then proceed across to Kochab, and that'll do just fine for me there. Okay, so actually that was a fairly quick turn, not much going on apart from Dominus has leveled up. He's the guy in charge of the production planet. Is there anything here to produce production? Well, there is this whole extra influence, and he is my militarist leader, so he is on the council, on the Senate. Sorry. Or he would be if I wasn't a dictatorship. Yeah, if I had two leading parties, I would be on that. So maybe I should change government. I am a dictatorship. Extra Senate skill effects. Rebellion start developing a system unhappy. Party policy set to 1. Now the problem is switching costs me influence, and then switching further actually costs a bunch more, though we do start to get some limitations on what we can do in terms of our modifications, like to elections and stuff. We've had no problem with elections though. I think maybe switching over to democracy. Set party representation to 3 on the Senate. Law upkeep per party represented among the active laws, minus 10%. +1 law slot. +1 happiness per population. And reduced by half the cost to pass a new law. Honestly, considering I've not getting any benefit from the Senate, that I think democracy might be a really good one to try and pick up if we can. Oh, need xenoanthropology. I can't quite do that yet. Xenoanthropology. Okay. Xenoanthropology, there it is. Cue that one up. And yeah, Horatio believes in power and voices of the people. Of course, all the acceptable leaders are Horatio. Nothing wrong going on there at all. Not at all. Not at all. Anyway, end the turn like that process because there's one last bit to Happy Ava's comments. I almost said content. Well, it technically is content. It's words on the internet. That's content. But it is also, I think, something that speaks very, very accurately about why this is considered a bit of a hidden gem kind of game, more than anything else. So, Happy Ava said, after watching your first few videos, I thought to myself, let's get the game. Turns out I had already bought the game years ago and completely forgot about it. I've only played a total of 6 hours. What the hell were you thinking past me? All I can say is, been there, done that, and slowly shake my head. The thing is with this game, it's a 4X title, and honestly, it could do with being a bit clearer to get people comfortable with the mechanics. I think that's probably what you ran into. The first 6 hours, you wouldn't really know how to focus your attention on systems, like what you want to try and build or prioritize, what stuff to research. Honestly, it probably escapes a fair few people the fact that the research tree actually has a search function in it, and different branches unlock different tiers and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff that's hidden. And then on top of that is the fact that the game goes, here, have some text. Have some more text. Have some more text. Oh, I'm sorry. You've got a yes/no question here. Have some more text. This game is very verbose in its presentation in terms of text, to the point where it's like that does prove a bit off-putting to people, I think, just in general. Because a lot of people go, we're here for a pretty space game, we're not here to read a wall of text. Even though that is part of the setting and how it's presented, it is very in your face, even if, as you can see quite plainly,
whatever you're planning, you don't want to hurt us harmless sophons, do you?
Sophons? Yeah, come over here. I think I just want to polish your faceplate there. Your visor looks like it's got a few smudges on it. Yeah, ignore any more cracks after I gently handle it with this mace over here. Yes. I've seen our war with the other clouds is going too well. Bad space weather. Anyway, how do you feel about an alliance? Okay. We might have a diplomatic overture coming our way. But yeah, I think it's just that those two factors combined have made this game a little bit less readily accessible to those that don't want to just get stuck in. I think my personal habit of like replaying early parts of a game as I learn the mechanics and being entirely happy to do so is a big part of that as well. It's part of why I took to it more readily than a lot of people do. I'm special. I'm not trying to badmouth anyone. I'm just trying to figure why this didn't get a wider audience, honestly. And then you got to remember that some of the DLCs, well, especially one of the DLCs, the most recent one for several years, until very recently, was badly broken and actively made the game worse. So, yeah. There's a lot of things here. There's also the fact it's got the whole FIDSy system, like a whole bunch of different resources, plus extra resources, plus luxury resources, extra stuff. So there's a lot of different things that do different things, and you've got to learn that as well. I think that was also a bit of a stumbling block. The game's a bit too complex for its own good, sometimes. Me big brain, your brain small. Me stand on wood box things, speak big words. Yes. No. I'm not trying to, I'm just trying to reason that out, and I'm realizing I might be coming across as a bit of a high horse. I apologize. Some fairly straight to the point guides would probably do wonders for this game, to be entirely honest. Maybe I should make a few. Maybe I should actually check and see what guides are out there. That might be a thought. Anyway, let's get on with what's going on. And
I would rather send you an arrow than this reply.
Call of Ancient Temples are strong. We'll build them wherever they lie. Send me an arrow rather than this reply, but I didn't speak to you in the first place. I don't know what she's thinking there, though she has beaten me to Idris. Should I get Mintaka? The choke point in this area is now Dusay. I think I'll reroute you to Mintaka just to try and claim it. Honestly. There we go. Anyway, so there's more comments to read. More fun stuff to be had. And I mentioned that this is about me raising the spectre of the Fermi paradox last episode. Well, that one's got dust anomaly. Yep, dust ruins. The Empire looked out having this system so close. It's got multiple dust ruins on it, so this place is actually very rich in dust production. You lucky duck, Human Empire. Very well done. Got some extra populations and some adamantium. Wow, an adamantium right next to their starting system as well. Even better, it's a 5-slot system with mostly... The overall balance is slightly above medium. Yeah, average planet size works out as medium in this one, because small is one size smaller, huge is 2 sizes larger. That is actually a really strong system they've got right there, and they've barely touched it, to be honest. They've only got 2 worlds in it. If I'd had that system next to me, I would have colonized the hell out of it and got it firing as fast as possible on all cylinders, because that is a very strong system, and they've not done much with it. The Empire doesn't know what it's doing, though that may just be the AI's difficulty level. Kionos, you have made for us magnetics. Very good. Adding a trade company subsidiary would allow for trade to start. Where are you? You are not very far out. But I do need to kind of try and work out what's going on. I think trade networks, they work by actually checking things on the way, honestly. Let's get that. So I think it works on every system intervened contributes to the trade routes. But I should try and check that if I can. Quorum is also ready. Quorum is not quite as far out, it's in the other direction. I'll make a subsidiary over here. Spend 3 turns on that one, sure. Just to try and get that worked out a little bit. Well, this place, this is doing absolutely fine. I think... What do we want? What do we want? We don't want much of anything. Some extra dust would be nice. And then you're actually making materials, so let's actually get some resource expansions. And some extra production of troops and things, because our troop population is actually struggling to keep up. It's not doing too well. That we're only plus 20 per turn, and a single battle could easily chew through any stockpiles. Also, any carrier groups will also chew through stockpiles very quickly. You're level 6. I am expecting you out for fleet command, 40% shields. Give me more damage, sure. Make you a bit more guns. And, population. That's one thing my empire is doing so great. Population. 55 core empire people. And the game thinks you're doing well when you hit 50. I routinely break that threshold. So, yeah. Anyway, I was talking about the Fermi paradox as I suddenly look at attack him, think for a moment we have the incense, and then it's like, no, that's the wrong symbol. No. If it was the right symbol, I would be so happy, but it's not. It's similar, but not the same one. So, we got some stuff about the Fermi paradox to be getting on with. I will start with Happy Hafer, and then Space Bear Engineer replied to Happy Hafer's thing, so we are going to go from there as I tell the combat fleet to head out this way. About the Fermi paradox, I've seen a video recently that discusses some findings about the Great Filter potentially being a very early stage of development. That is quite possible, that. I hope so, because being early is far better than being late, because if you're late then it means all the cool stuff has already happened, and also a lot of resources have already been consumed and all that stuff as well. This one is... I'll let this go on in the background for us, actually, while you guys get to see that. I don't care about the outcome. I don't have a harvesting strategy set. What are you guys? Both projectile attack, so I will increase the effects of my hull plating. So we're going to have a battle going on again. This one will just play out at normal speed. Just let it go. And we'll see if the camera does good things. Battle is Musis. Yes, well, I talk about the Great Filter. It discussed the most development benchmarks happened to evolve in multiple ways and are therefore considered not to be Great Filter material, and that multiple kinds of great catastrophes that can happen to planets, like asteroid impacts or gamma ray bursts, are also not deadly enough to be Great Filters. I think I should probably add the qualifier here just for completeness. The Great Filter is the barrier in the Fermi paradox. It's like the theory is that a species reaches a certain point in development and then there's this massive obstacle that most fail at and only a few get through to go on to the next stage of development. That's what Happy means by the Great Filter. Explosions are also a Great Filter if they are suitably devastating, but not in this case. Oh look, I won. I wasn't expecting that one. Decisive, and my ships took barely any damage from that. Though I also gained 240 research points. I'll accept that. That's fine. That was the objective we had for hangovers for a while. But the Happy Havers continues. There is one development that happens only once in Earth's history. And this is where your comment actually caught me. Development of cells living inside different cells. In other words, the evolutionary advantage of having mitochondria has only developed a single time in all of Earth's history and is therefore considered a potential Great Filter, meaning we are more likely to be among the first complex life forms than being latecomers. That in itself is also quite true. Cells living within cells would then lead to cells forming cooperative colonies, and then macro-scale cellular structures, and then larger, more complex forms of life. Because we are technically like we are interdependent clusters of different cell types. That's what an animal is, or a plant, or any larger scale living thing is massive cellular colonies working together. It's kind of interesting if you think about it that way. We are ultimately all blobs of goo to lesser or greater degrees. I feel like sometimes I'm a bit too far towards being a blob of goo myself compared to a normal human. But, you know, I'm not the grey type. I'm not eating the walls just yet. But, yes. That said, though, that being a potential Great Barrier that we know about, that makes way too much sense to me, honestly. And I do appreciate the insight. Thank you. Let's see. That leaves us on to Space Bear Engineer, who replied to that comment. I wonder if they address abstract information transmission / accepting unverifiable signals. I don't think any species other than ours seem to have evolved that, at least to our extent. Obviously, hard to measure directly in extinct species, but we haven't found archaeological evidence to the complex tools used that produces it, as far as I know. There was something in the last few years talking about a planet relatively nearby where for a short period we had incoming light patterns of a frequency that suggested it was coming from LED systems like emitting diodes, and that's because light emitting diodes, they function by outputting a very specific, very focused version of light. That's how they work, and it's also why they're so energy efficient compared to like regular bulbs and things like that. Regular bulbs, it's not just the material they're doing, they're also outputting light in like all spectrums all over the place, here, there and everywhere, while LEDs are a more refined, far more limited emission of energy, and so they just flat out use less energy, full stop. They're not perfect, they've got their own flaws as well, but it's something very distinctive. And we actually, for a brief window, were picking up signals like that from a different planet. And it's the only known case, as far as I'm aware, of that happening. Of something that is most likely of artificial origin. Now, a big problem as well is the transmission of information from one place to another, as in we're limited by the speed of light. I mean, even radio signals and stuff like that is also traveling at light speed. It's just different parts of the electromagnetic spectrum, just like light is, just like infrared, just like all that. Radio is just the same thing. So even if things have happened around us, we wouldn't really be able to tell for quite some time more recent developments, because the further away something is, the longer the light's just taking to reach us, and so the older our information actually is. So our information just gets more and more out of date at that point. It's another big problem until we get something that works faster than light. Don't worry guys, we're going to tear open the warp and go and travel through the realm of demons very shortly. Yes. We need something that breaks the regular model of physics to really get those distances down, or we're going to be limited to our own solar system, most likely. But also there's the fact that, well, even going to different planets orbiting different speeds, and so the actual reference of time is a little bit different on those as well. I mean, heck, even between us on the surface and satellites in orbit, there is a very small but noticeable difference in time. Enough that the microsecond calculations of navigation satellites and stuff actually has to take it into account. So, you know, time is relative as well, so we don't know what's going on there. That brief burst of LED emission, it could have spanned many years on there, and depending on what direction their system was going compared to us, I don't know. But yeah, it's these strange things that make science so fascinating, and have so many possibilities and or horrors. Anyway, speaking of horrors, let's get back to what I was on about. Solar Quest, from dust to dust. We lost an expedition, we went out looking for it, and the expedition were angry. So, the dust settles, your ship's limp smoking out of the atmosphere. During the battle, you caught a glimpse of one of the attacking ships. A ship made of bright blue crystal. Ah, okay. Hidden beneath a layer of rock. Your thoughts flit to the first thing that comes to mind, an ancient race called the Harmony, who were supposed to be wiped out centuries ago by a plague created by the Endless. But your historical knowledge is lacking. You make a mental note to read up more when you have the time. On your ship's bridge, your geologist and you share a look of relief. Majority of your crew has survived the day. Perhaps, for the moment, that is the important thing. Huh. I don't think I've come across a reference to the Harmony before. A client race that was wiped out during the Wars of the Endless by a plague. Which means that because they were a physical construct, they were probably on the side of the concrete Endless. Because the concrete are the ones that remained in physical shells, while the virtual Endless are the ones that went into being energy and software and stuff like that. And so the way the virtual Endless were trying to defeat and ultimately put an end to the concrete Endless was in part through bioweapons and stuff like that. I mean, the Carvers are the biggest example because they're a full-out faction and they are literally leftover genetic soldiers from that war. So the Endless did many, many fun things. But in better news, that means Moses is now currently free of the pirate fleet that was there. And so our fleet is free to proceed towards Dorado. And I will also move up the invasion fleet of Inductors to start looking at taking that over. See, I am taking care of my own neighbourhood a little bit. It will still arrive a turn behind, so any fighting will happen before my invasion fleet gets there. That is all fine and dandy. Okay, right, moving on. Scout, you're finding nothing. Keep going. You are over here to check out another questline, which was the one about... That's not that one. It'll tell us when it pops up. It's the one trying to track endless weaponry is what's relevant in Nerod. So, let's check it all out and see what's going on. Got some Alcalcics. Okay. More Alcalcics. I need the system. And some anomaly. Friendly locals. End the space 2. Are you trying to say something there? Right, so native inhabitants can be classified in one of two ways. Those that view you as friends and those that view you as dinner. Fortunately, this is the former case. By accelerating the colonists' adaptation to the local ecosystem, they permit a higher density of population than is common for a planet of this size. So, minor species, not even spacefaring, is here, but they are very, very welcoming to outsiders. As a result, +2 happiness per population, +1 food production, and +1 slot per population. We also got a slot of exiled Ticanans as well. And here we go. This is the quest I was looking for. Strange sightings. Information you've gathered shows the effects of these weapons were formidable. They are capable of targeting enemies as small as a ship and as large as a planet, but occasionally seem to fire into empty space. It doesn't quite add up yet. Just to let you guys know, system killers are a thing. Though they also leave debris behind. So, yeah, don't know. Ooh, more to the point, 60 Eden incense. Excellent. I'm so glad that turned up, actually. Okay. Increase science production to 2,279, or sign a science treaty with another empire. 2279. I am currently at 2216. So that's like 60 more science per turn. I'll probably crack that without even trying, to be honest with you. Not because science is kind of where my entire empire is focused, more or less. Anyway, let's see. That's a lost Horatio. I'm going to leave them. Wait, didn't the colony finish? It did. I'm going to leave them there and see if they settle automatically. You are scouting over this way. Leo. Soul gas giant. Ionic crystals and Quandrix. Okay, cool. That is another dead-end system, by the way. It can be colonized. Gas giants do offer some special bonuses, but they have a very low population count by themselves. It's why they're so strong in terms of 1 or 2 resource outputs. It's just like they don't do anything else, literally. But the thing is, I don't want to move the scout on because in... Actually, I can check because it does tell me. Oh, there's nothing else there. Okay, cool. I never looked at Sigma too close. Nothing else immediately obvious. And the reason I'm taking a quick look is because I'm about to hit the next tier of research in terms of like those two are both in motion. That one's okay. That's all okay. That's all okay. End the turn. Yes, good. We're about to hit tier 4. So we're about to reveal all possible things we can check using our research probes. And so any kind of anomaly we can now scan. Because that's it right there. Increase expedition power to level 4. And oh look, it popped without me even trying. I kind of thought it would. Your science engineers have learned a great deal, but they're still scratching their heads. As usual, more knowledge leads to more questions. In this case, the question is, why? And there you go, food find completed. I win. Oh, even more eaten insects. I wish I could say I was planning that. I was planning that I was going to win some quests very shortly, which would give me a whole bunch of Eden incense, but this was a complete accident, to be entirely honest with you. It really was. Okay, so, Chapter 3. Discover a new Endless-related unique planet, or explore 50% of the galaxy. I feel like that quest is going to advance next turn. Because I've already done that. 50% of the galaxy, you say? I'm approaching 80%, I think. Probably past 80% at this point. More to the point, though, we've actually got a bit more of a fight going on. Though, again, I feel like I waited too long in terms of getting my fleet ready, because it's just like, again, 3 people showing up to a fight. They are all energy-based, so double my shield absorption, which is damage reduction, and also increase flat-out shield hit points by 10% to kind of nullify that, and they have no physical resistances in terms of their own defenses, and my fleet is kind of set that way. So the way that most people will do this is, as I said, that's just simulation. You can't control anything, so you can just click fight, and it'll sort itself out straight away like that. There's no penalties for doing that either. It's just flat out faster. It's one of the quirks of the combat system, honestly. You don't have to do it, because it calculates all the same way. So, all dead, no real damage done, 180 points gone. Okay. And there is another fleet here which is full of positrons. It is exactly the same. So again, fight. Done. Okay. I will, however, enforce a blockade. So any enemy fleets trying to move in or through the system will get held up. But we can see there's another pirate fleet coming in 3 turns here. That's okay. That's okay. Because next turn is when my invasion fleet arrives. I think we're going to be okay in taking care of the pirates. There are many more Horatio. Most excellent. 80%. Called it. I managed to eyeball that pretty accurately, actually. And then, yeah, just go ahead and proceed, I think, because that is... Oh, this one's not actually done anything. Nakos, you have a anomaly. And you are... Meta Entactogen. Source from a planet that apparently survives by absorbing dark matter from its environment. Oh, very fancy. Meta-entactogen emits radiation on very unusual spectra. When ingested, it makes the aura of an individual visible to others, which greatly improves communication efforts. If used as a system modifier for system upgrades, plus 15% to influence output on the system. And locally it increases happiness and influence. Huh. Interesting. I mean, it's appeared in Sophon territory, actually, that one. Yeah, that's mostly in Sophon territory. So, Sophons aren't actually that interested overall in influence. That's not one of their specialties. They are, as I said, literally the greys. They are like science geckos, more or less. It's a good thing I decided to start looking through my ships because I've not actually done these, I don't think, for the most part. Handy, please give me something good. A projectile booster made for Aracalcix. Okay. Ionic crystals. Okay. Ionic crystals. Okay. So you see what I mean? Like window pop, window pop, window pop. So that is what I was talking about earlier. It's like kind of how the flow of this game goes a little bit. Nothing of interest there. Is there something here for next turn? Wait, no, this is next turn. I've already got tier 4. Anything I can scan is going to appear at this point. You are a scout. Right. Oh, nothing there, so you just keep on going, I guess. You're the one I don't want. You are... Well, now I know if I want to move you. Ah, ping right there. Kind of want to get scout back down here, though, if there's... I saw a ping there. There's pings in that pirate system there. Oh, that pirate system there. That is an excuse for me to send my pirate fleet over... Send my pirate fleet over here. Excuse me. To send my fleet over this way, actually. But... No, I will do that. I will actually send back into their territory. There's one there, too. Yeah, go that way, please. This one is going to... Let's see. We've got large ocean, large barren. I will go for the ocean one in general. Yeah. Stake a claim on this colony. Behold, the life below an ocean. Also has some Hyperium and a bit of Dark Glitter, but also apparently it's got a permanent monsoon going on. Huh. Interesting. That's neither here nor there. Can't do anything that wise, and okay. So if that's that, oh, I've got colony ships heading towards Pavo, and Pavo is now actually a pirate planet. Pictor though does have Eden Incense, which I want. I'm hoping to find another loose system up here, because it seems like Volta kind of expanded coreward rather than doing anything else. Let's go ahead and end that turn. Okay, xenoanthropology. We can establish democracy. Hostile trace, my hacking up on Vran was discovered. That's okay, that's going to finish in 2 turns. They can't backtrack all the way to signal source in 2 turns, so that's okay. Though my capacity is mostly in use at the moment. That's something that's slightly concerning. Okay, events. Teet. Quorum, a major industrial hub for your empire, is holding a fancy summit for industry leaders and politicians to mingle and talk business, away from the scrutiny of the public eye. This year, ecological groups have organised a massive protest condemning the summit as a secretive way to pass elitist, eco-unfriendly laws. You've just received your personal invitation to the party. I'd like to think that Horatio is always invited. Okay, so I can condemn it or I can attend it. Condemn. Interesting, important, but people are right. Sneaky politics is no way to run a system. Some will go on this time, but not with your support, and speaking publicly against it will ease the hearts of many. Plus 30 happiness for 10 turns, but minus 20 production, especially with, again, like I said earlier, with newer colonies coming online. Minus 20 is a serious problem for some of my systems right now. While the penalty in attending is business, and this is the way business has always been done on Quorum. You'd be foolish to run your mouth about it now. Besides, these industry leaders do know how to throw a good party. Minus 10 happiness, minus 10 is not much at all. Plus 10 industry on all systems. This does boost industrious a little bit, but that's okay. Minus 10 happiness is also okay. Give me that one, please. Thank you. Sorted. Right. And what do you know? Anomalous Data's Chapter 3 has just popped. It's almost like I saw that coming. This quest is going really well. Enough new information has come up to new information. Excuse me. Has come up to provide the plans for a module. Hopefully, with this module, the researchers can finally get some solid answers. 50 Hyperium, 300 dust. Of all the sites that have been either visited or described in Discovered Data, one appears the most promising. An endless relic was close enough to the targets to, with luck, have left some details of its use and its effects. In fact, it is possible that the relic played the role of an observer station during the weapon's use. This finally may help explain exactly what the Endless were after in the empty voids of space. On the other hand, there is no way to know if the weapon is still active. Reinforcements would probably be a good idea. You never know who may show up with an interest in obtaining your knowledge. Send a fleet to the location of the quest flag. I'll pin this quest, and this is send a fleet to attack him. Of all places. Yeah, that's it though. This is a genie in the bottle situation now. And it's also something that happened multiple times in our own world. It's like a weapon gets used in any kind of fight, and the other side gets to see what happened, see what the results are, see what the effects were, and if lucky, even get some pieces of the weapon back afterwards to check out. And then, the knowledge is kind of out there, or the idea is out there, and makes it easier for other people to try and follow similar lines. And that's basically what happened with, the biggest flat-out example is actually nuclear weapons. That's what happened after nuclear bombs were first deployed. Then it was like, here are these things, here's what's happened, here's what the effects were, and it's like, well, now, everyone needs this thing for their own safety and security, because if they don't, they're afraid it might get used on them. And yeah, there was a whole can of worms once those were actually actively deployed. Before that, it was theory, and then there was proof. So that's the thing that's happening here, it seems like. Reward is a random Tier 3 technology. Ooh, a random Tier 3. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. So that is the area I am actively researching in everything except for military. So that's actually some up-to-date research, considering how easy most of that questline has been. That's like a couple of thousand research points, which is still like maybe a turn. My tech is kind of getting up there in terms of its outputs. I don't know why I've got a choir going on when I'm saying my tech is getting better and better. I don't know. There are some things missing from my repertoire though. Of particular, something that I'm curious about is, do I have Umbral Choir active? Mind you, I've got 4 known empires knocking about. And I don't see any unknowns. There should be a list of unknown if there was an unknown. So that means if there was an Umbral Choir, I probably would have met him. Also, the fact the AI never knows to keep their own mouth shut and always say hello whenever you're in the neighbourhood. So, yeah, there is that as well when you're against an AI version of the Umbral Choir. Something I can do, though, is Let's go ahead and unlock some more planetary technology. Ash planets, lava planets, gas giants. There are a few planet types I can't yet get. There's also Arctic and Ice, which are both research specialist things. Actually, let's get that. We do need to get some of those facilities for one of our quests anyway. So plus 30 flat and plus 2 per pop, or plus percentage happy and ecstatic. This one also helps with hacking. As does this one. They both help with hacking, actually. Let's start getting remaining planetary technologies. There we go. 5 turns to work out how to land on the gas giant and frozen and ice balls and all that kind of stuff. Most excellent. We've also found the planet Vale. From orbit, this planet is visually uninteresting, silent and undeveloped. It turns beneath the glare of an indifferent star. History and legend claim it is one of the great centers of virtual study. However, toning. History and legend claim it is one of the great centers of virtual study, however. And the seat of the sub-faction commonly known as the Cabal of Pure Thought. Vodiani? Should these tales be true, the planet would be rich with power generation centers, networks, and a planet-wide infrastructure of superconducting cables. Until there is a way to render these visible, however, the planet merely appears as is. And it's in the Empire's space there. But yeah, Planet Vale, unique terrain. Massive food output potential. As you can see, the Empire is enjoying very much having access to that one with really big yields in, well, food, dust, and 66 is nothing to sneeze at influence-wise either. That's pretty tasty in terms of raw output. Very nice. Well, very good on you to actually use that one. Mark Spectre is buying antimatter. Okay. We have unlocked a new point in Empire Tech, which has increased movement speed of civilian ships, and also given us a command. Oh, that one harvests influence based on kills. Okay. Production. Nothing's really happening very well. Production. Have you built that? Nope, you're still working on that trade thing. Horatio's more populous. Hostile trace has been detected. I should have actually checked that one a bit more closely. Whoops. Okay, stars of their destination. That colony ship that was heading into a sun that I diverted. That is now over. There's Vale. And we found an asteroid field as well. Okay, cool. We have got our current stuff, but we also have the Dorados. So, let us go ahead and start the invasion, I think. I have 700, they have 500, they have 140, I have one... wait, can I rejig my forces a little bit? No, I haven't actually bothered to unlock that. Okay, this is also something that I've not dug into yet, or shown you guys because I've not dug into it yet. Shocker, I know. But ground forces in this game, we can actually split them into 3 different types overall, and there is a rock, paper, scissors that goes on. Infantry are good against... infantry is good against air, but weak against tanks. And then it goes around, so tanks are good against infantry, but weak against air. Vice versa. So that's kind of how it goes, though these need higher military tech to unlock, and then we can choose the ratio of our army when we launch a ground combat, which is built this way. Well, when we launch. Also, when we get attacked, our defenders are in this arrangement as well. And if we go on the side here, as you can see, what the actual effects are, and we can boost their effects as well by spending investments to just flat out improve that troop type. My apologies, there is no weakness that goes around. It's just base trading, honestly. Instead, by default, 50% damage against air units, 50% to infantry, 50% to armor. But if we go up here, I get extra health, so it's harder for my infantry to be lost for 200 dust. I'll take that. Extra 20% to damage, which means that I deal with my targets faster. Also take that. This one's a bit more of an ass because it wants antimatter, which I don't have much of, which is plus 50% damage to air troops on Empire. So yeah, that just makes the thing like do double damage against air troops. And then this one does 20% extra health and 10% extra damage for the final upgrade. But I'm not going to do this one just because of the antimatter cost and my lack of antimatter in general. But I will apply that one. Make my troops more effective and more efficient. And then I will just go ahead and land from my interdiction room. So, fairly even, as you can see. I could go to Guerrilla to deploy my full force. I could go to Blitz, increasing my overall size. Now, notice my reserve size here. I believe this is actually taken from both fleets. Let's check that. 680 deployed, 720. Yeah, so both fleets have actually deployed their ground complements for this. And so the combat fleet is actually also contributing to this as well. Just try and help out. So I could try for a blitz and just try and flat out deal with it, honestly. Even then, I've still got, I'm only deploying like 3/4 of my force, almost. My troops are hard to deal with, but I've actually just boosted my health, so that's going to help out. Yeah, I think blitzing is probably going to be the best way about it. Whereas if I wanted to try and actually keep my troops alive, I'd be using guerrilla tactics instead, just like infiltrating behind lines and damaging their stuff. Let's blitz them. Let's watch, because we only saw a very brief example of ground combat last time. And they are apparently living on the gas giants. The pirates are really super advanced in technology. Who would have thought it? Okay, lost some stuff there. And then my return fire, though. My return fire, though, did very, very, very nasty things to them. So there we go. Yeah, they dug in. They tried to hold their ground. They inflicted more damage and they were harder to eliminate, but my sheer numbers did nasty things and greatly reduced their available forces. They still have another 200 in reserve, but I've got more than that in reserve still to replace my losses there, so let's accept that. That was actually just fine. Something I forgot to do this time, actually, because I was focused on other things, was try and actually go and start integrating some of my local minor empires. But we'll do that next time, though, because we are past the hour, so it is time, unfortunately, that this video was coming to an end. As you can see, that's a little bit further down here, but not much. There's also a random system just over here. If I was Volters, that might be a tempting place to go, just to have a little launching point very close to their territory, and that they can't do much about. Though, Tersana would be a far more inviting target to try and get to. Just because it's isolated, and it's fair distance from nodes, so they might not know about it either. I also don't think they know about Zitabir up here. An adamantine system that they've not colonized, and they've got this decent-sized colony over here. 9 people. Yeah, they're probably not aware of that just yet. But yeah, I'm going to end it there, because, as I said, we are past the hour. So, no new provocations from Red on our western flank, but I plan to take this entire section of the galaxy as my own, and they are not being conducted to that, so I'm probably going to want to take these systems off them if I can. So there's probably going to be a war in that front, just because I think it'll be interesting to have a war in this particular playthrough anyway, even though I'm a science focused. The fact they just demanded money off me. Though actually, it's actually a habit in any kind of civ-based or 4X game. The AI empires try and demand money from me. I think it's because I don't tend to build that much up militarily until I'm seriously considering about having a fight. So I appear weak until I'm suddenly not weak. Yeah, there's a problem with my playstyle, let's be honest. Ah! Virak. We've actually got a ship through to Virak. Well, oh no, one of the better worlds to land on is the one that's got the blue cap molds on it. Click. The Empire is probably going to have some stern words for me about that one because the colonists are so close to their borders. It's only a poor deposit as well, but it's better than no deposits. I will invest to get this place built as best as possible because it's going to need the help, honestly. It's got a risk of influence becoming an issue, so we have to try to be aware of that one with how close it is. Where's my other colony ships? They're heading up this way. I think they are stuck. Yeah, they're only just down here. They've still got a ways to go to get to where they're heading, which is Mars. Picture's okay. Hopefully, though, well, Corvus would be an amazing one if I can get my hands on it. Lava, ash, desert, arid. This is a very dust/production, leaning towards production-focused system. It's also a five system one. 2 smalls, 2 larges, which balances out as 4 mediums overall, and then a huge, which is +2. So this is actually on the larger scale of things as far as system population size goes as well. That would be amazing to get my hands on that one. It's also Pegasus. Gas giants, okay. Specialise in industry. Not the best. Monsoon, and another gas giant. And an Arctic. Honestly, this system is kind of let down by the fact it's got 2 gas giants in, though the presence of a dust gas giant is always useful. Production gas giant has questionable value more often than not. Though the fact that gas giant also counts for like any per planet bonuses from your buildings, it still makes it relevant. It's just it's not as interesting a super specialist as like a science gas giant or a dust gas giant, which we've also got one there as well. The combination makes it less valuable though, so I think Corvus as a local manufacturing hub behind Volta lines would actually be very, very scary to have. I just have to try and reach it. But yeah, so I'm going to end it there. Did I do the outro? Gosh, I derailed myself by talking about things. And continuing the turn. Oh, I am Mark III, you fool! Also, the Empire, you fool! You colonized this single gas giant. Did unlock the rejuvenation maze, though. Let's see. Displaying the usual hallmarks of endless engineering, this orbital structure has been given the name the Rejuvenation Maze, on account of its ability to repair vessels by unknown means. Sadly, this understanding didn't come without a price, and several crews lost their lives before researchers realised that any ship sent into the maze must be unmanned. Now ships are also piloted on an entry vector, whereupon powerful electromagnetic fields feed the vessel into the hidden interior. Tracking data has revealed that ships travel complex routes through the structure, but what happens along the way largely remains a mystery. Plus 50% health regeneration ratio on ships in orbit or hangar, so the system that builds this is 50% better at repairing damaged ships. Interesting. Shame it's so hostile to, organic life on the ships, but I guess it's not really designed to do that. Though that also implies it might have been a product of the virtual Endless, because remember they are the NG/AI, they wouldn't be concerned about a biological presence like the concrete Endless would be. So that's probably a product of the virtual Endless. Yeah. Feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Helps let me help channel, give me those virtual headpaths I oh so crave, and I'll catch you all some other time. Yes. maybe next time we'll see Iron Mark 3 actually finish the outro properly, as I feel my voice cracking. It's like, stop, you fool! Stop the words, because soon you're going to have your voice crack in probably a somewhat embarrassing manner, but... well, less cracking, more grating, I don't know. Yeah. I'll catch you all some other time. I think it is my catchphrase that someday I'll make sense, I swear, just not today. Sanity is overrated. All praise Horatio.